Welcome to my interview series, Pop the Hood. In each episode, I'll be introducing you to a fellow car enthusiast so you can learn all about them and their ride. What's up, everybody? We are here today with...
I'm April Taylor, and this is my S14 240SX.
And I'm Jimmy Taylor, and this is my project Datsun 510.
Now, the Datsun 510 is currently in progress right now. It's not really in the frame. We are going to shoot some B-roll of it, and we're going to come back to film his own separate video. Today, we are here primarily to discuss this beauty right here. This is April's, what year is it?
95.
It's a 95 240SX with a Kouki or Kouki for our Japanese viewers front end conversion on it. So we have mutual friends via Jade Motorsports. Shout out to Julia and Brian. They are a Orlando originate or in Orlando, right? Mm-hmm. So you met them and they liked your car, and now you represent Jade on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. So yep. That's a really good honor. They've been around for a long time. They have a great pedigree of amazing cars. We're also both Super Street alumni. Yeah. So a little bit earlier, we exchanged magazines and signed each other's copies, and it's a very, very surreal experience. Also, last night we met up and we drove to a car show together. So that was really cool. A lot of fun. Yeah, just driving on the highway and you get to see everybody double taking because like, oh, that's a cool car. Wait, that's a cool car. It's the same car. So that was something really cool to do. We've also both been to Japan. I've only been as a visitor, but they lived there for a solid 1 year?
1 year, yeah.
1 year living in Japan. So the jealousy is real on this side because of how beautiful and amazing Japan was. Next question I want to get into, what do you guys do for jobs? What are your occupations?
So I'm a project manager for a bank.
All right.
And I work in industrial and construction supplies.
Okay, cool. So another venture down another path. Everyone does something different, comes from different backgrounds. So now you can see where these guys come from. So going into the year and the model. So it's a 95 with a front end conversion. How many other S chassis have you owned or do own?
So we do own one other S chassis, and I have owned one prior to this car. So. Okay, and why did you choose this particular model? So we had a lot of friends that had the S13, and we went. I would go for a ride in the car. I loved the car; it was great. But I really liked the look of the S14 a little more.
A little more modern?
A little more modern. I kind of the smooth kind of lines and things like that. So it was kind of the best of both worlds. If I could have that look, but have the feel of, my friends' S13s. It was just it was kind of the perfect combo for me, so. Gotcha.
So this is your car, but you both build this together.
Yes.
You make all the final decisions,
yeah.
But Jimmy is a custom fabricator.
Oh,
We're
yes.
currently in their garage right now. Also Jimmy's shop where he's building the 510, and I am totally in awe of this setup. This is everybody's dream garage. Maybe we'll put in some B-roll and cut and show you what we're looking at right here. So the next question, how long have you owned it?
So this particular car, about 9 years.
About 9 years. And let's see, did you buy it completely stock and do everything?
Not completely stock, this particular one. It was an automatic though, so we've done lots of mods, and well, this one's been a complete
yes. Yeah,
complete strip down and start over. But it did have a few things like wheels, suspension, things like that when we got it. So those have all been changed, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple different versions of this car, but it keeps getting nicer every time I see it. Favorite thing about the car?
So for me, I just love to drive it. I love the way it feels when you drive it, the connection that you have, the control that you have.
Of a manual, yeah.
Of a manual, yeah. It's just the responsiveness of it. It's very different than my more modern daily driver. I don't feel like you get that connection.
I gotcha.
Like I do when I'm driving this. So.
And Jimmy, what's your favorite thing about this car?
So although I do love the way it drives and everything, I don't get to do as much as I would like. So I really think my biggest thing right now is just the overall look of the car. Even though she had the final say in pretty much everything that was done to it, it is pretty much a vision of what I would do as well, with maybe some minor changes in overall look. So.
An overall compromise. I think you guys came to a good decision.
Yes.
The good thing is we have very similar tastes.
Yes, that helps quite a bit. Otherwise, you would have been clashing quite a bit.
Yeah.
All right, so that's your favorite thing about the car. Give me your least favorite thing about the car.
So for me, I appreciate having one in the car, but the design of the cup holder.
I can vouch for this.
It's a struggle for me. It's kind of the 1.5
yes.
Cup holder, and
It quite
so
is.
you put something in it. If I don't put something behind it, stuff falls over, and it's
Yes.
just, yeah. So I appreciate having one because I know there are cars that don't,
Yes.
but it's, yeah.
So we talked about this briefly off camera, and I mentioned that there is a factory little slide-in that fits as a divider, and I'm going to hunt through all my, 20 years of parts to see if maybe I have a spare to donate to the cause, because I
That would
definitely
be
know the
awesome.
feeling of hitting the brakes and having your drinks decide they want to be part of your shifter.
Yes.
Okay, Jimmy, least favorite thing about the car?
Well, I guess it comes with the age, but probably being able to source parts and stuff like that now, especially when our attention to detail, we would like to have the best stuff for the most part. So getting new parts is getting difficult to find for a lot of things. So,
Yeah.
That's probably one of the most difficult things
And then
about it.
Nissan decides to discontinue.
Yeah, and then the only option there is to go to secondary stuff. So
Yeah.
either hope that the aftermarket steps up, or that you can find a used part that is in a really good condition.
Right.
Which is
Or
definitely
that
getting-
somebody hasn't thrown on eBay and tried to do bad things price-wise.
Exactly.
Okay, so least favorite thing about the car. Let's go on to future plans for the car. What are we looking at?
So there's a couple of things that I'd like to do with the car, but right now it's kind of on hold. So that is one of the kind of downsides to both of us being into cars. We have to take turns.
Yes.
So obviously I got the full build first, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So yeah, but once we get his car done, or to a good stage, we'll say that, it might never be done, right?
Yeah.
I'd like,
ever.
yes, I'd like to do a new hood, brakes, rear brakes.
Now you have rear brakes already. You just want to switch them up, because I believe they're the Z32s.
Z32.
Yes, which is what I run on the car right now.
Yes, yes.
And a much nicer wheel, a much nicer caliper design than the factory S14 ones that's just
Yes,
kind of sitting
yes.
there. At least we get our little Nissan on them.
Yes, and they're great. But yeah, I wouldn't mind having another set.
Okay, and you're going to match the fronts?
Project Mu, yeah, I'd like to go with that.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so she runs the Project Muse on the front, and she wants to put them on the back
would
too,
like to
so
have
she can
them
have a
on.
nice
yeah.
carryover and everything matches. So Jimmy, hurry up and finish the Datsun.
Yes.
Yes,
She needs to get her new mods.
I'm ready.
Okay, so any funny or memorable stories with the car?
Yeah, the one thing I can think of is when we were building the car and it was completely down, apart, bare shell. We had some folks come over and take a look around the garage and at the car itself, and they were just like, this car is never going to be put back together. So it's just, it's about the only thing I can think of. It's kind of neat to
prove them wrong.
To prove them wrong.
Oh yeah, and even better,
Yeah.
to drive up to the house and say, "Hey, come outside. Do you remember the car I'll never finish?"
Yeah, here it is.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
at the time we knew, right? I mean, we knew it would be back together, but it's
Yeah.
just, funny to kind of.
Car people see a project and they see completion. I look at the Datsun right now. It's off camera, but it's about maybe 25% complete. But in my mind, I already see it complete. He tells me what his plans are, and I see the vision. And I know he's going to finish his Datsun in his
yeah.
time frame. He did excellent work on this, and he's going to
Yes.
carry it over to the Datsun. All right, so funny, memorable stories. Now here's one little throwback. How or when we met. I ask this to everybody. Sometimes I forget myself, and people will remind me. So, how or when we met?
So we met at a car show at the RC Cola factory. Actually, it was an amazing show. One of my favorites.
Tuner Evo.
Tuner Evo. It was an outdoor event. Great backdrops.
Yes.
With the graffiti and all the wall art. So it was a really great place. We had been on Instagram.
We had chatted back and forth on Instagram.
Seen each other a little bit, but that was the real
Yes.
Meet in person, see the cars in person.
That was cool. And oftentimes you'll know a car long before you know what anybody looks like. So I knew the car from being at shows and stuff, but it wasn't until I was working the Tuner Evo show and the fire marshal had kicked everybody out and we were working the door, and as people came back in, I recognized the face and I was like, "Excuse me, are you April?" And she's like, yeah. And then I said, "Oh, I'm SFL240SX." And boom, then we started. We finally formally met in person, and we chatted it up. And yes, the RC Cola Factory in Wynwood is an amazing backdrop. It was a really fun day. Good 9 hours in the sun, so I had my fill. Next, we're going to move on to a fill in the blank rapid fire round. Let's see, and we're going to hear from both of them here. Give me your favorite motor.
The SR20DET.
SR20DET. Okay, fair enough. You got two of them sitting there.
It's true.
All right.
And I'm going to stick with the same.
He's going to stick with the same.
It's going to the Datsun.
It's currently in the bay of the Datsun. Give me your least favorite motor.
So, I'm not really anti anybody's choice of motor, but for me, it'd be the 420A from the Eclipse that I had.
So personal history is tied to this motor. Not that it's a bad motor, but it was bad to you.
Yeah, we didn't have a good relationship.
Okay. So. It was a bad breakup.
Yeah.
All right. And Jimmy?
So, I don't really technically have really a bad engine because everybody's got their thing. I agree. I never really liked the sound of the KA for the most part. So, but I've owned
cut. No.
But I have owned Ks, and I don't have any problem. I had a D21 that had 270-some thousand miles on it.
Yeah.
Still ran no problem.
Yeah.
On the other side of it, I will say after listening to Kyle's in person with the turbo and everything, it sounds way better than a NA car.
We had a spirited drive home, so the KA got to
awesome.
sing the songs of my people.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go for a drive later, so Jimmy can get the full experience of the KA. A lot of people don't like the KA, and I think it comes down to maybe a lot of people just haven't driven a KA. They haven't really got the experience of being in one, and a lot of the internet tends to hate on the KAs and junk them and truck motors and whatnot. But you take somebody out for a drive in one, and usually things you get different perspectives. So give me your favorite wheel, and I think I already know the answer.
So for me, it's the TE37 Saga, the ones that I have right now. It was just I feel like it matches the car perfectly, and it's a great wheel.
Can't go wrong.
It's a classic, but it has a really great kind of spin on it.
The pedigree of the TE37, there's so many versions, they've been out so long, you just say instantly TE37, everybody knows that wheel's gonna look fantastic on the car, and this version looks really good too.
Yeah.
Jimmy.
I think I'm going to stick with the TE and many different versions. There is a different version going on this car, but just like you said, an overall wheel that you could put on almost anything. I mean, even my truck out there, if I could get some TEs for it, but unfortunately, the Frontier has a unusual bolt pattern, so it's not like the Tacomas.
Got it. Well. Good choice for both cars. I instantly, when Jimmy had showed me a little projection of what he's going to do on the car, I said, that's a fitting wheel for this build. So can't wait to see that complete. Give me your first mod on the S14.
So on this particular S14, and honestly most of our cars, the first mod is typically wheels. With this particular car, we kind of did everything at once because it was a full build, so it was kind of
gather all the parts and then just do it all at once.
Kind of do the whole thing, yeah. So, but typically I would say,
it was kind of unusual because it went from a daily driver to something happened to it, and that turned it into a full build.
Oh, the snowball effect.
All at one time. It turned into a repair, turned into 2-year-long project.
Yeah.
Right. I got a ding, so I might as well do a color change.
Yeah.
Well, right? Something along those lines?
You're here, you might as well take the whole car apart, yeah.
Okay, so the first mod being pretty much a whole redo over, and now we're going to go into what's the most recent mod you've done.
So the most recent mod, so for my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. It was in January, but for that I got a Vertex shift boot. So
very nice.
I put that in a month ago or so.
Very nice, and we'll take a look at that when we go over through the interior so you can check that out. Then we're going to say and this one's to both of you. If I wasn't driving this S14, I would be driving Sky's the Limit.
Sky's the limit. So realistic car, 70s Celica. I really like those. But Sky's the limit. I would have either Daniel Wu's Honda S800, gorgeous car, loved it. Or I would have the James Bond DB5, the 60s. The 1960s.
With the machine guns and the missiles and whatnot.
I mean, I could pass on those.
No, yeah, okay.
Just that it's just a classic, like gorgeous.
It is. It's a classic, yeah. And the moment you say Aston Martin and DB5, DB7, it's James Bond all over.
Yeah.
The classic styling.
Yeah.
Petite E37s?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Okay, Jimmy.
Well, I guess I'll stick with the
maybe the 510.
If I could.
If you can get to it now.
I just got to get it there, you know.
Yeah.
Other than that, S15 would be
S15
strong on my list as far as when they're actually fully legally available.
Right.
So,
Well, you've driven the S13. You've had the history in the S14. It almost feels like a progression that you'd like.
Yeah, and I love how the Schassis drives and everything.
Yeah.
I've never even driven a 510 actually, so we'll see when this one's complete.
Wow,
First time I sat in the driver's seat was a few months ago when I was test fitting the seats. So.
Nice. Well, it's putting faith in a build, but you can't go wrong with the Datsun. I mean, these 510s look great. I've seen so many variations, so many motor swaps, and SR is going to be great. I love seeing SRs in these, and I love seeing KAs in these. You really can't go wrong. And the way he fabricates this thing, just as it sits right now, is amazing. So we're going to follow this build, and then we're going to show it again. We're going to come and do his own video when it's completed. So we're going to go on to our next section. So in our last segment, I forgot to introduce our visitor, as you can see here, making sure everything, actually supervisor, making sure everything goes according to plan.
So this is Zenki, and this is her garage. So, she's in charge.
She's allowing this to happen.
That's right.
So a while back, I was on a friend of mine's channel, Maria Laura. She had done this similar segment, and I really had wanted to do this. So this is not my original idea. Thank you, Maria. This is going to be a eyes closed, blindfolded question segment. So at this time, if you would close your eyes.
Okay.
And we're gonna see if we can get somebody to sleep on the couch tonight. All right. Cooler car. Okay. Better driver. Crazier driver. Drives the fastest. Gets more tickets. I don't want to react too much to give it away to them. All right. Better mechanic. Who has the best build ideas? Cleaner engine bay.
Right now.
Right now, okay, fair enough. Has nicer wheels, or plans to have nicer wheels.
Is that an option?
I feel like this is a tie. We're gonna call this a tie.
Is this an option?
There we go. How about that?
Breaks the cars more. Who's responsible? Who's behind the wheel when something breaks?
Well, I guess right now.
Oh. Comfortable couch, guys. All right, April's gonna give us a quick tour of the outside, starting with the front. What do we got here?
Sure, so I've got a carbon fiber hood. You'll see the JDM grille and also the JDM turn signal lights. The whole car has a Vertex body kit. You'll also see I've got the JDM window visors, the Origin roof wing, and then continuing with the Vertex side skirts. The Origin trunk wing, LED tail lights, and then finishing off the body kit with the Vertex rear bumper here, and then the Apex N1 catback.
Nice little custom tag. All right, what do we got here? Tell me about these wheels.
Yeah, so these are the Volk TE37 Sagas. This is the Time Attack Edition. So these are 18s. I've also got the raised lug nuts there.
Is it a staggered setup?
It is a staggered setup. So in the front, we have 9.5 plus 21, and in the rear, it's 10.5 plus 22. And then we also have, you'll see the Z32 calipers there on the rear here. And in the front, we are actually running the Project Mu 2-frame calipers.
Very nice. All right, we're gonna take a look under the hood. April, what do we got?
So I've got an S13 SR20DET. And starting at the bottom, you can see I've got a Greddy oil pan with Greddy pulleys. Inside I've got 9-to-1 compression CP pistons and the Apex head gasket. I've also got ARP head studs and the Greddy rocker arm stoppers. And then you can see the wiring specialties harness. Got a custom painted valve cover and the carbon fiber signal coil pack cover. And under that we've got split fire coil packs. And then the Blitz oil cap. Also have the Vibrant exhaust manifold connected to the Tomei 7960 Turbo. Custom intake and intercooler piping. And then took a little while on the custom tubs. And then back against the firewall, got the Chase Bays power steering kit and brake booster eliminator. For suspension, I've got the Tane Flex coilovers, the Greddy strut bar. And then for fuel, I've got the Circuit Sports fuel rail with 550cc injectors, the SARD fuel pressure regulator. For intake, got the Greddy intake manifold, connected down to the Apex blow-off valve. And then tucked away in the corner over here by the hood prep, got the Chase Bays coolant overflow. I've got the catch can, and then for cooling, the Mishimoto fans and shroud, the Koyo radiator, and HKS radiator cap. Also have the NRG cooling panel. Then we've got the JDM grill here, and finish that all off with the Greddy intercooler.
All right, we're gonna take a look inside. April, tell me what I'm looking at.
Sure. So we have the Zenki SE gauge cluster, the HKS fan controller, then we've got the HKB short hub with the Nardi steering wheel.
Look at that uncracked dash flex.
That's right, that's right, that's right. So coming down from the uncracked dash, we've got the gauges, we've got a double dim Pioneer, and then we relocated the AC controls, so that's why they're down there at the bottom. And then we've got the nice carbon shift knob. We got the Vertex shift boot.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you. So B&M short shifter, just the SR20 transmission with the one-piece drive shaft, and then we've got a clutch style LSD.
And what do I catch out of the corner of my eye but a fire extinguisher?
That's right, that's right. So we got that from you, so thank you for that. We don't go anywhere without that.
That's right, thank you so much for doing that. Now tell me about these seats.
So we've got the Bride seats on Bride rails with the Takata belts. And then in the back here, we've got the Auto Power roll cage. And then one of my favorite touches, the custom headliner.
Look at that.
S15 dome light, as well as the visors and S15 mirror. So.
All right. So, April, now is your time to shine. Tell me your shout outs and your thank yous.
Absolutely. So, first of all, definitely have to shout out to my husband, Jimmy. I wouldn't have any of this without him. So he's taught me so much, and then lets me get in there and get my hands dirty. So that's awesome. And then, of course, thank you to Mackin Industries, as well as Ray's, Toyo Tires, Project Mu, of course, my Jade crew, and then, of course, Kyle, thank you for having me. So
thank you so much for sharing your car with me. Beautiful build, totally worth the trip to Orlando, and you guys have been so hospitality level 9,000. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. For daily content, follow me on Instagram at SFL240SX. I'll see you in the next video.